Welcome to Wongerup Football Association's Round 13 Wrap for Saturday, July 28, 2018. I'm Gary Bartholomew. With me is Association President for the past 18 years. Good morning, Kim Parsons.
Good morning to you, Gary, and morning to your listeners. After a couple of games on the weekend, it was pretty close for a while, and then, they changed in the last quarter, but a couple of good games of footy played on the weekend.
Yes, and at Newdigate, unfortunately, two disappointing forfeits with the juniors. Newdigate forfeit into Jerramungup, and Newdigate winning the reserves with a forfeit from Jerry. So that was a bit unfortunate.
Very disappointing, Gary. We haven't had too many forfeits this year, and actually I'd be surprised if there's been too many junior ones at all, but very, very disappointing. Obviously, Jerramungup down on player numbers, and showed up on the weekend and get towards the business end when they can't make the four. It's just disappointing that guys drop off and don't front up, and an away game of footy, and there's a bigger picture to it than just I don't want to play this weekend. I think they've got to work a bit harder.
In the league game, Newdigate won this one by 37 points over Jerramungup, 17-12-114 to 12-5-77. The goals for the winners, Dean Rintle, another 5, Trent Ryan and Jared Offord 4 each for the Lions. And Jerramungup, Benny Lee and Ben Hislop 3 each. The best for Newdigate, Trent Donardi, Trent Ryan and Dean Rintle. And for Jerramungup, Andy Solomon, Callum Bailey and Ben Hislop. Now, there was no game comment for this, but so obviously there was many people on strike on Saturday.
Must have been, Gary. But Jerramungup, they were up by a goal at quarter time in this, and then Newdigate obviously had the aid of the Breeze in the second quarter, and they kicked 7 goals to 1, and that's where the game was, won and lost. Obviously Newdigate got on top completely in that quarter, and just slowly increased the margin after that. Jerramungup fought back a little bit in the third, but they managed to kick 4, but Newdigate kicked 3, into the Breeze, and opened up the gap a bit bigger. But a thoroughly deserved win for Newdigate at Newdigate, and the last time they played up there, Jerramungup got over the top of Newdigate, so they would have been smarting a bit from that, and they all their big guns have come out and fired on the weekend.
Yes, and at Lake Grace on Saturday in the juniors, Norangarup are winning by 71 points over the home side, 11-13-79 to 1 goal 2-8. The best for Norangarup, Tiara Hodson, Brock Beck and Rowan Hodson. And for Lake Grace, Pingrup was Lewis Robinson, Alex Clifford and Jack Willis. In the reserve, Lake Grace Pingrup winning this by a straight 100 points, 2013, 133 to Norangarup's 5-3-33. Jackson Kalopi and Trevin Davey, kicked 5 goals each for Lake Grace Pingrup, and Patrick Smith 3, and all single goal scorers for Norangarup. The best for the winners, Mitchell O'Neill, Alistair Hunt and Trevin Davey, and for Norangarup, Digby Richardson, Lincoln Patterson and Brenton Addis. In the league match, Norangarup winning this 13-15-93 to Lake Grace Pingrup 10-10-70, the margin 23 points. Craig Bolton 5 goals, William Limber 2 for Norangarup. For Lake Grace Pingrup, Luke Henderson 4, Luke Bairstow 2, and the best for Norangarup, Tyler Cordwell, Marley Phillips and Jack Batchelor. And Lake Grace Pingrup, Luke Bairstow, Jack Trevennan and Jack Carruthers. The game comment, good conditions for a competitive game of footy. Lake Grace Pingrup played well until 3/4 time, but Norangarup was too good in the last term. It was a bit like Jekyll and Hyde, the Lake Grace Pingrup performance, really, because for 3/4 they were just playing, $1 million football, and that really just came to a halt in the last quarter and never scored a goal.
No, and Norangarup have kicked 6 and, to run over the top of them and win quite comfortably in the end. And what you said, Dom, when you were there, and a really good game of footy. But I think Norangarup probably were missing Stanley Longturner. I don't think he played.
No, he didn't. No.
And he can certainly change the game, and let's hope he's back for the next week's game. But, Norangarup, they want to play better than that against Boxwood if they're only, 3/4 time to have only kicked 7 goals. But we've said all year, Norangarup have got multiple avenues to goal, and, they all bob up. They've got, huge numbers of players that could kick 3 or 4 and 2s, and That could, be very good for them come finals time. They got guys that can kick the ball a long way in Tyler Caldwell and Bud Stewart. Pretty good side, but they'll be found out how good they are next weekend against Boxwood. But great effort from Lake Grace Pingrup. They've only got one game to go, and they've got to be happy with the result. Yet they didn't have a win, but they've really put up a good fight for 3/4 of it, and obviously Noengrup got the run on in the last quarter and ran over the top with 6 goals to none.
Well, the whole town was pretty optimistic on Saturday, Kim, with Liam Baker making his debut for Richmond in the AFL, and also their reserves won terrific. They've been they're in the top 2, of course, and they really turned it on in that grade, and it just left the momentum going in the league. And I don't think anyone at the ground has seen such a change so contrasting,
Yeah, no, they can play some good footy. They got some very good footballers at Lake Grace, but they just got to put it together for 4 quarters.
Yeah, just need goal kickers. That's been their case all the time, I think. But anyway, the OFA, reason not to look anywhere else for your kicks. We move on to the ladders.
Into the ladder, into the juniors. Jerramungup still on top, 11 from 11. Then we've got Noengrup juniors with 7 wins in second, and the Boxwood Hill juniors with 6. Lake Grace Pingrup and Newdigate kids with 1 win apiece, so that can still change the bottom position in the 4. Into the reserves, Boxwood will remain on top. They've had 10 from 10, and they've got a couple of games to go. They can't get knocked off top spot. Lake Grace Pingrup with 6 wins, Noengrup and with 5, Newdigate with 4, and Jerramungup with just the 1. And into the league, it's I would suggest this will stay like this too for the remainder of the year, with Noengrup with 9 out of the 10 with 2 games to go for them. Boxwood Hills had 7 wins, so they're a couple of games behind them. They play each other next week, obviously. Then Newdigate with 6 wins. They will make the top 3, those 3 sides. And Jerramungup with 3 wins will make up the 4. Lake Grace Pingrup with just the 1 win for the season so far.
And the top goal kickers?
Into the goal kickers, we've got a little bit of a gap open up there, although it didn't open up as much because both the top 2 kick 5 each. But Dean Rintoul from Newdigate with his 5 goes to 32. Craigie Bolton Jr. from Noengrup Footy Club with 5 on 27. Then Shane Davey obviously had the bye with Boxwood. He's on 24. And Jared Offer from Newdigate with 4 to go up to 23.
Yes, around 14 this Saturday, August 4. Noengrup in top spot with 9 wins, 1 loss. Host Boxwood Hill second with 7 and 3. First series Bulldogs by 11 points, and in the second series Boxwood by 22 points.
And this should be a cracker of a game. In Noengrup, I'd anticipate a pretty good crowd there. They get a lot of support in their home games, Noengrup, and I think it'll be a really good game of footy. A win to Boxwood would not surprise me, but Noengrup has, continually harp on their multiple options to go to goal, but they certainly want to play their best footy because Boxwood just seems to be coming good at the right time of the year, and they go deep into their side with class Boxwood, and if they're all there and up and about, it should be a really good game of footy. I just about go for Boxwood, but something tells me Noengrup at home are a different side, but I think it'll be the best game we've seen for the year.
And maybe Brandon Wise, who missed last Saturday, may be back for that game at home as well.
Big inclusion if he does play, because Noengrup Boxwood have got some tools up forward, and Brandon Wise can drop back into the back line. He takes on Aaron Davis or one of the other, Shane Davey, one of the other tools, and he's a carnival footy player that's had a lot of success at carnival and a really important cog in their team, I think, Brandon Wise.
In the Northern Derby, Lake Grace Pingrup 5th with 1 and 10 at home against Newdigate 3rd with 6 and 4. In the first series, Newdigate by 49 points, and the second series again by 50 points.
And I think this is Lake Grace Pingrup's last game for the year, isn't it, Gary? Their last home and away fixture. They have the bye in the last round.
That's the case, it is.
And, they'll be desperate to finish off on a win. I do think Newdigate will be too strong for them, but, let's hope that Lake Grace Pingrup can play as well as what they did on the weekend and, make a pretty good showing of it and finish off the year in a bright, position, and their reserves obviously strong on the ladder, and, their club still remains very strong. Good, really well-run club and good, huge numbers at Lake Grace Pingrup, so they're a little bit lucky there.
And Jerramungup has the bye this Saturday. Just moving on now. Anything else you want to mention?
Oh, no, it's just we got to keep reminding Norm about the Eagles' result over the weekend and Carlton having a win. You cannot get away with that on me.
I can imagine what the next 3 weeks is going to be like because I'm taking a break, and to leave the show to you two is going to be pretty.
Well, it's just a shame it wasn't with just me and him this week after the Eagles losing and Carlton winning. It could have been entertaining.
Yeah, I just want to mention to the listeners while I am away, and that's up until the first weekend of finals, Jack Scanlon will be doing the administration side of the OFA, and of course yourself and Radio Great Southern's Norm Chilcott will handle Wrap.
Yes, I think we can step in. We'll miss you, Gary, but we'll make something up for it.
I appreciate you granting me leave.
Yeah, that's all good, mate. It's all good.
Thank you, Kim Parsons. Until next week, this is Gary Bartholomew wishing you all the best and shooting for your goals.